Welcome to week 2 of Flippin Bets.
Welcome to Flippin Bets. In this episode, we're pitting our four quarters against each other, flipping each coin for every game in the NFL Week 3 gauntlet. Which quarter will do better this week? Is it even possible to make money this way? Stick around to find out.
Unfortunately, my counterpart here is sick. I think he's still just hungover from that Buffalo Bills win Sunday night. It's just gonna be me for the first part of this video. Let's jump right into these flips. The picks are in. So let's look at this week's slate of games. One of the games that is more interesting this week because of injuries is San Francisco, New Orleans. With Purdy and Kittle being out, that changed the odds massively. New Orleans now aren't that far off from being close to being favorited. Not only that, but San Francisco has all four quarters betting against them this week. Every single one flipped heads. So they think New Orleans is going to win. Another interesting matchup here is going Baltimore-Cleveland. Divisional game. Divisional games can kind of be a mishap of golden opportunities for these underdog teams. However, this might be some of the biggest odd differences we will see all season. Baltimore at minus 750 and Cleveland at plus 525. Dela and Babs are banking on that, divisional juju to kind of mix things up a bit and win some big money this week. This week, we have another coin flip game with Miami at minus 118 and New England at minus 102. So we'll see how it goes. Miami looked bad last week. The Colts dominated them, and New England put up some pretty good numbers against Las Vegas, but it could definitely be better with Drake May out there. Week 2 of the season, we have the Super Bowl matchup already. Now, both of us were split. Josh's quarters picked Kansas City, which is hilarious because he's a Bills fan. And my quarters picked Philly. The odds are pretty close. Plus 100 to Kansas City, minus 120 to Philly. And I'm surprised they're that close given that Xavier Worthy is out, Rashee Rice is out. So we will see exactly how this goes, but I have a feeling it's going to be an interesting game for Philly. Let me waddle back to the other side. And then our last matchup that's pretty interesting based off of the picks and might be an interesting game overall is Atlanta, Minnesota. All four quarters are betting against Minnesota this week. And both times they've bet against the whole team, they've picked the underdog. So you got Atlanta at plus 145 and Minnesota at minus 175, which is going to be interesting because JJ's performance on Monday Night Football was pretty good in the back half of the game. So I'm surprised that that those odds aren't even further apart than they are. Now, let's have our hungover counterpart rejoin us for the actual results of this week.
Let's talk about some football. So we made a change to the board this week, and we removed all of the losses. So any of the teams that you see here still left are the wins. So you can get a quick idea of who did well this week and who didn't do so well.
Yikes.
So that Dallas-New York game, seems like the coins knew what they were talking about for the most part. Had me worried for a minute because it looked like we had vintage Russ there. He threw for over 450 yards, but he did what he does best at the end of the game, so it was fine.
Now to what we thought might have been one of the best picks of the week. Every quarter picked New Orleans. And with Brock Purdy being out, we thought, okay, that might work out. Rattler got 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It just wasn't enough to beat Mac Daddy, who also got 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. One score game, but San Francisco took it away and beat all of our quarters.
Mac Daddy. Yeah, it seems like the quarters didn't want any piece of Ben Johnson's homecoming. That turned out to be a good choice. The Bears got destroyed.
This week, we figured out that the Colts might be a real team. Weren't sure last week because Miami looked horrible, but they just beat the Broncos. Indiana Jones leading the helm down there. They haven't punted at all in the first 2 weeks, and they look just about as good as the Saints did last year in week 1 and 2. So let's see if they keep it up, or if they fizzle out like the Saints did.
And we had another game this week where the quarters were voting in unison. They all picked the Falcons. And honestly, after watching the game, I don't blame them. Our NFC Player of the Week has so far had one good quarter of football. So, go quarters. So, it was a bit of a mixed bag for my quarters this week. You could see Crossing the Delaware went 6-10, and Blue Ridge went 10-6. So, pretty much opposites. And unfortunately, this putrid performance from Dela puts it negative for overall win-loss. However, for money, it is still up. Can't complain about wins. So, hooray. Overall, it's still up over $2, so that's fine. Dela has a new favorite team as well, the LA Rams. It's picked them both weeks, and it's won both times. Burp had a great week, to be honest. It's up $2.69 on the week, and then $3.89 overall. This makes Burp the second best quarter overall on the year so far. And it seems to have great taste in teams, at least through week 2. Its favorite team is currently the Indianapolis Colts. Again, it's bet on them twice and won twice, and it's won the most money with it.
So, kind of the same as his quarters. Mine had one really good week and one really bad week. Acadia did great. 12-4 on the week. Our best record throughout the whole first 2 weeks, 22-10. Now, Babs, on the other hand, if you remember from last week, he did great. This week, he fell off. 6-10 on the week, 17-15 overall. Kind of slowing down here, Babs. Need to pick it up so we can win some money. Now, as far as how much money they've made, Acadia did great. $3.91 made this week. Overall, they move into the highest earnings for the quarters in $6.51. But Babs, on the other hand, going 6-10, got 15 cents this week. Wasn't even enough for an extra bet. Come on, Babs. What the hell, man? And overall, goes to $3.50. And this is mainly just because of how good they did in week 1. Because their week 2 has been bad. They moved to 3rd. So all of the favorite teams have kind of changed because we actually were able to figure out how much money they've all made. Acadia now likes the Rams. That's not the Rams. That's the Chargers.
They're both LA. It's fine.
LAC, LAR, same thing, right? Except Chargers have less fans. Acadia's new favorite team is the Chargers. Yep, they've made them the most money. That's it. Nice and simple. And of course, I'm going to be honest, they picked the basic team, the bandwagon team. Buffalo's been so good that they picked Buffalo. So, Babs still being Babs.
Well, if they want to join Bill's Mafia, they know what they have to do.
And just remember, this is not gambling advice. Leave a comment below telling us what your favorite cookie is and who you think is going to win next week. Ta-da!
Great, we have our outro.